The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, my name is Joy Barrett. I'm the Executive Director with the Granite State Children's Alliance. We operate 5 child advocacy centers here in New Hampshire. And over the years, I've had the privilege of working with some really incredible organizations here in New Hampshire, and it just gives me a great privilege to be able to have this opportunity to talk to executive directors throughout the state about the work that they do. And I want to challenge all of you out there to really think of the word nonprofit in a different way when you start to learn about the organizations in our great state. We have great profits. We are empowering people. We're protecting children. We're preserving our environment. And so I want you to tune in to New Hampshire Cares and really learn a little bit about our nonprofit, our great state of New Hampshire, and the work that we do for people in our community. I am so excited to have our next guest on today. Her name is Julie Barron. She is with Make-A-Wish New Hampshire. Julie, thank you so much for coming in.
I'm so excited to be here.
I know, it is so nice. It's so nice to catch up, of course, even while we were waiting to get on. We're like filling each other in, and so it's really nice to have you. And this is show number 2.
Yay.
And I know you sat through and watched a little bit of the first show with Kevin from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and you had a chance to see my new house, right? And
it's beautiful.
Isn't it just beautiful?
It is.
I know, and they put the balcony in for me. I know we talked about that before, so it's really
where you
nice.
have your coffee after the show?
I do. I go up there and I have a cup of coffee or something better, and it's really wonderful. But again, thanks for making the time and coming down here. So Make-A-Wish New Hampshire, tell us a little bit about Make-A-Wish, a little bit about yourself, how long you've been there.
Sure, yeah. Well, we grant wishes for kids with life-threatening medical conditions. And we really hope that we can give them hope for the future,
sure,
that strength to fight that really tough battle, and share joy.
It's an incredible mission, and I've had the pleasure of being even at your breakfast. And, you know, everybody probably has that sense that they know a lot about Make-A-Wish. You know, of course, it's an organization that's nationally known. And, you know, when you go to an event and you actually see the children who have been benefited from the wishes and the smiles on their faces. I think there was a young lady at last year's breakfast that sang to us. And, you know, there wasn't a dry eye in the house, you know, and it just is really wonderful. So tell us how you got into this work. How long have you been there?
Well, I actually hit 11 years in March.
Wow.
Which is absolutely amazing to me. But, you know, it's kind of interesting because, you know, many years ago, my mom was diagnosed with colon cancer, and as I cared for her and really watched her, you know, battle, became really aware that there were times she needed something to pull her forward, something to give her strength, and something really to inspire her. You know, because as adults, we can cognitively understand what's happening to us.
Sure.
But as kids, hope and strength means so much more. And that's what really drew me to Make-A-Wish about 11 years ago.
Wow.
And, you know, as soon as I got there, I knew that the calling I was feeling was going to be fulfilled when I met my very first wish child.
Okay.
Her name was Morgan.
Okay.
And Morgan wanted to be a dolphin trainer. And I remember going out and meeting her and finding out what her wish was and bringing that information back to the office, working with volunteers and staff to put it together. And, you know, but it wasn't really until a couple of weeks later, and Morgan was off on her wish, and I got a call. I was sitting in the office, and it was Morgan calling me from Discovery Cove on her wish, sharing with me, you know, how she got to swim with the dolphins and feed the dolphins and teach the dolphin Molly how to mimic everything that she did. And I think it was really in those moments for me when I realized what a wish can do for a child.
Right. Well, we all like something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And so in some respects, you're doing that for a child that, you know, is so courageous going through, a medical illness and, finding themselves in hospitals and in circumstances that are really confusing to them and their families. I mean, their families are going through something too, and I know a lot of the wishes involve families. Matter of fact, there was a boy on my son's baseball team whose family benefited from Make-A-Wish and went down to Florida for Red Sox training, and it was a family affair. So so tell us a little bit about, really the service delivery and the process for making the wish and how that all works with your organization.
Yeah, well, every wish, it's about the child and giving them their heartfelt wish. But we do include the entire family in that, as you mentioned, which is really nice. So if it is a wish happens to be to go someplace, then we would send the child's immediate family with them.
Do you find that people come forward to give you gifts of a wish? So how do you procure all those wonderful? Well, I guess actually you have wish granters. Am I right?
We do.
Okay.
So we have volunteer wish granters, and those are actually, they're not our fundraisers, but those are the ones that go out. We train them very, very well. They go out, they meet with the child, they get right down on the floor with them, they play with them, and they try to figure out that heartfelt wish. That experience, event or thing that can be deeply felt by that child.
Sure, sure.
Have you ever seen a child when they've got that overwhelming joy when they're trying to explain something to you?
Right.
We're really looking for that one thing that's really their heartfelt wish. And so we work to bring that to life, whatever it is. I mean, kids want to meet someone, go somewhere, have something, really anything that they'd like to do.
Well, I would imagine the job of a wish granter when they're getting to know the child and what they would like to do. When you were to ask, if you were to ask someone, what would you like to do? You tend to put boundaries around things, right? Because you're thinking, well, that's not possible, or I know that's not realistic. And maybe as adults we do that, and maybe probably the younger children don't have that perception, that boundary. But being able to really get to know, if you could do anything, what would it be? And being able to live through that, that's really pretty remarkable. How many children do you see in a year that you grant the wishes for? And again, I would love for our viewers to know a little bit how they could get involved with helping your organization with granting wishes. Well, there are about 112 kids diagnosed with a life-threatening medical condition in New Hampshire every year. Right now, we're granting between 80 and 90 wishes a year. Wow.
So there are still some kids we're not reaching, and that's what really keeps me up at night. That's what really is so difficult for our staff team. So we've come so far. 11 years ago, we were granting 39 wishes a year.
Wow.
Now we're, between that 80 and 90. We hope to hit 90 this year, but our work isn't done because we really want to reach every eligible child in New Hampshire who, and give them that hope for the future.
Sure.
And we've been doing some wish impact studies lately, which are really, really exciting.
What is it? A wish impact study. Wow.
And we've been finding something that we've kind of known all along, and that wish parents and physicians are telling us that a wish really impacts a child's physical health, and that it's a real turning point for them during their treatment.
Wow.
And some of the adult children are telling us, that their wish was really a life-changing experience for them.
Sure.
And so that's really propelled us on further. And so hopefully I can come back and visit you in the years to come and tell you that we're reaching every child every year in New Hampshire. I mean, that's our dream, that's our goal.
Sure. Yeah, that overarching, I want to serve all the children that need a wish should get a wish. But that's really interesting about the health study because, we all know that stress can contribute to health problems. And so obviously that is, part of that study that you're doing. So that's pretty remarkable. And, being in the nonprofit world, we all have to have those measurable outcomes, so to speak. And, like you said, it's something that you always kind of imagined and figured that was, obviously one of the benefits to the wish, but, certainly through some of those studies, it actually helps you prove that impact.
Exactly,
which is huge and measurable.
Yeah, so we like to think of ourselves as partners with the medical community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how do your referrals come in for children? When you say eligible children, how do you get your referrals?
So usually they come in from 3 different buckets, physicians, any healthcare professional can refer a child. A wish parent, a parent could call up and refer their child.
Okay.
Or even a child could call themselves actually and refer themselves in. And then we would talk with their physician and make sure that they have a life-threatening medical condition. And then we would take it from there. We'd identify 2 volunteer wish granters. They'd start that process of going out and meeting with the child. They'd bring that information back to the office and work with other volunteers and the staff to bring it to life, whatever it is. And a wish can be as simple as wanting a hot tub in your backyard, or as elaborate as, wanting to pet cheetahs in the wild.
Right.
And we've had some fascinating wishes.
I was going to say, share a couple of the fascinating stories and wishes that you've had that are really unusual.
Well, it's interesting. We have, it's funny because some of the unusual ones are, we had a little boy a little while ago, and it's always been my favorite. It's really simple, but it's always been my favorite. He wanted to meet and defeat Darth Vader.
Oh.
And I just thought that was the most fun wish.
Yeah.
But everything from wanting your summer back to...
How do you do that one?
Yeah, well, it ended up being that, so we try to get the child in a place where we think about, what are you feeling? Who's around you? What are you sensing? And just try to kind of piece together what they might like from that. So it ended up being a trip to St. Lucia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not a bad
and
place
going
to
the
be going.
beaches
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that nice?
And we have a little boy right now. His name is Matthew. And I'm actually his wish granter because I love to do that, kind of the over and above,
Sure.
be one of our
Well,
own
it keeps it
volunteer wish
meaningful
granters.
too. Sure,
It does.
right.
And he wants to be a puppeteer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So you have
and-
somebody training him?
Yep. So we're working. His favorite character is Mickey Mouse. So we're working with the Florida Puppeteer Guild and Disney to make this really cool, meaningful experience where he can learn to be a puppeteer and make his own puppet show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I can tell just by looking at your
Yeah.
face that you look like you've been there for a month versus 11
Yeah.
years, meaning the excitement, and it's almost like it, and I think what resonates with most people that work in our industry is that it's not of 9 to 5.
No,
it
no,
becomes
not at all.
it becomes somewhat who we are, and that definitely
You just get so excited
definitely
about it, passionate about
resonates
it.
with you.
Yeah. We have a little girl right now who wants a Malibu Barbie experience.
Oh, really?
So we're putting that together. That should be pretty cool.
So any celebrity pieces to it? I mean, we have some pretty famous people in New Hampshire that occasionally come home. Do you ever have any luck with getting them involved?
Yeah, we
or-
actually have a wish child right now.
Oh, really?
And so, hopefully he comes home soon.
Hopefully he comes
Yeah.
home soon.
But we'll actually, when we have a child that wants to meet a celebrity,
Sure.
then we would work with their team and really
Sure.
send the child anywhere they are.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty remarkable. That's
So,
nice.
but yeah, we actually do have a wish right now for Adam. So
Oh,
yeah,
really?
We're talking with him. Yeah.
Get him home.
I know.
Get him
I
home.
think he should come home.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Well, maybe he's shooting a movie in Boston, perhaps. I know they're doing a lot of that now.
Yeah.
But so, what it's really interesting, of course, 90 Wishes, and we had this conversation with all nonprofits, is that, we're really not nonprofits. We have great profits. But having said that, it takes an investment by donors and by grantors to be able to do the work that you do. If you were to have a tree in your backyard, a money tree in your backyard, and could invest in anything in your organization, what would be something that Julie would invest in today for Make-A-Wish?
Probably outreach. I mean, that's one of the key areas that we're really focusing in on. And we just actually created a director of outreach position.
Okay.
And we're really trying to get the word out because, there's a lot of myths out there. And I think everybody thinks Make-A-Wish and, oh, they're doing fine and, they don't need us as much as some other charities do. But we really do need those sponsors out in the community. And, there's also so many people that think that we're only for that horrible T word that I can't even say.
Sure.
But really, we're granting wishes to kids with life-threatening medical conditions.
Sure.
So like I said in the beginning, hopefully, it'll give them that hope and strength, and they can make it through to the other end.
Sure. Well, that's what we're hoping
Yeah.
for, right? Is that, we kind of keep them going through, obviously this very challenging, traumatic time. So when you say an outreach, it's not necessarily outreach to get more children referred. It's outreach really to kind of dispel some of the myths that are out there.
Right, share our mission and let everybody know what we're doing and what we need. And
so good
and
PR. You need a good PR person,
good
Julie.
PR. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's really important because being part of a national organization, it's easy for people's perceptions, and perceptions then become reality, that those organizations do really well.
Right, exactly.
That if they're nationally known, that they must do really well. And in fact, in our community, we really need to do better about supporting them, because the dollars really come from local support.
Absolutely.
It makes a big, big difference.
And Make-A-Wish is a federation, so what's great about that is that there are 62 chapters around the country. We're all separate 501c3s, but we work really closely together. So say if I had a child that wanted to dig for dinosaur bones, I would call up all my friends in the Badlands from Make-A-Wish in that area, and get a paleontologist and work with them to bring that wish to life.
Oh, that's perfect, because you kind of partner with your other affiliates.
Everyone.
That's wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much. We're just going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with Julie Barron from Make-A-Wish, New Hampshire.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can,
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles or dollars you donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, You really should.
And give wishes wings. Because wishes work wonders.
Welcome back. I am here with Julie Barron from Make-A-Wish, New Hampshire. Again, so glad that you would be with us today. It's really wonderful. And, before the break, we were talking a lot about the organization, talking about different stories, and obviously how you got involved with Make-A-Wish. Are there other particular stories that you have? It just intrigues me, because not every match is the same. And although you probably have repeated a few, because you have a database in your mind of when a child says they want to have this experience, you can hearken on maybe a wish you granted once before. But they're so unique that, that's what's intriguing me, is this hope that you're giving these children by giving them this experience. And, I'd love to hear more about the different wishes that you've granted.
Well, it's really all kind of tailored to them. And that's what's really excited about it. So even though some wishes may be a little similar, they're really not, because we're pulling apart different pieces and different personality things about each child, different desires that they want, I was just thinking about, like a million popped into my head. This is like, oh my God, which one am I going to grab? A little girl who wanted a play area, house of her own in her backyard.
Wow.
Someplace that she could escape to. And, it was amazing, because these, all these volunteers who are, insurance agents become hammer swingers and painters, and the whole community get together. We actually built this little girl a 2-story playhouse in her backyard.
Oh my goodness.
And she was really, really specific. She wanted...
Equipped with curtains?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
14 windows.
Oh, my
all
goodness.
With curtains. We had a volunteer that made all the curtains for them, but she wanted the walls painted pink and purple, and she wanted a green door on it, just like her parents' house. And, she had a whole make-believe kitchen in there, and a reading room, and, just a wonder. I remember her reveal, and she was presented with this big key, and, everybody standing around, and they can't wait to see the house.
So special.
And she turned the key, put it in, walked in, and closed the door.
Oh.
And just left us all standing out there.
Oh, so she went inside and left you outside.
And left us outside.
Well, she said she wanted it for herself,
she said she
right?
wanted a place of her own.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those are some of the memorable wishes that you remember.
Of course.
And we have a great time with staff and volunteers brainstorming, about what we're going to do with particular wishes when they come in.
Yeah.
And how we might bring what's in this child's imagination to life. Right now, we're working on a wish for a little boy who wants a fish tank. But he wanted it designed by the show Tanked.
Oh.
So he actually wants a pirate ship in the fish tank.
In the fish tank.
And so we're
How
working
big is
with
this
them.
fish tank going to be?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember.
It's like, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly, but a good sized tank.
Wow.
Salt water.
Oh, saltwater
saltwater
tank.
tank.
Wow.
So-
Well, it's almost, if you're going to do 90 a year, or at least
Yeah.
that's your goal to do 90. And of course, there are more children that probably need them than the 90. But it's almost like putting on 90 little events.
It
In
is.
the course of a
Yeah.
year, and that takes an army. And how big of a staff do you have at Make-A-Wish?
There are 8 of us.
8 of you.
Yeah.
For all of New Hampshire.
For all of New Hampshire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So your capacity
so-
is real tight there.
It is, and we're spread out all over the place
Mm-hmm.
and kind of running in all different directions. But
Do you find, again, and we were talking even at the break about, being in the nonprofit world and being an executive director, and your office is in Manchester. Do you find it a challenge by not having offices in each of the communities, or are people really very well adjusted to the fact that obviously you have a central office and then you have your army of your wish group, all over New Hampshire? Is that how you pretty much operate, or?
yeah, and we've strategically hired people, on the staff team, and brought in some amazing leadership volunteers that are all over the state.
Oh, great.
So we're really not concentrated in Manchester.
Great.
I myself, live up north and travel in every day, and so it's nice because we really have some wonderful relationships all over the state.
That's
Yeah.
terrific. Well, and it lets you, I think what's nice about New Hampshire is that we're small enough,
It
but we're
is,
big
yeah.
enough. So we've got 2 major cities, and we've got, communities that are really supportive, but we're small enough to kind of get our arms around it. So it makes doing work here a little easier, and especially for the work that you do.
Exactly.
So, knowing that
Yeah.
you're the CEO of Make-A-Wish New Hampshire, and, all that's on your plate, because of course, there's the jack of all trades of those types of positions. Where does Julie do her best thinking? For me, I call it power in the shower. That's when I think the best. Where do you do your best thinking? Where do you find yourself where you can really allow some of, your thoughts to come through and take your organization to the next level and work it out?
Yeah, it's actually in the car.
The car.
And because I live up north, it's 106.
Okay.
I call that my office away from home,
You
So,
drive. So
but
how
it's
far
really
is your
traveling
commute?
around the state, about an hour.
Hour, okay.
Yeah.
So that's your time to kind of
Yeah.
either debrief what's happened during the day, and I can imagine that some days are harder than others, in the line of work that you do. But you can kind of debrief and allow yourself some time, or you can be really motivated
Yeah.
and be thinking about, what you're going to do tomorrow. So.
Well, and technology is great because I dictate, agendas and thoughts and strategic ideas, all into audio note as I drive down the road. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Multitasking on the
Multitasking.
roads. Watch for Julie
Yeah.
on the roads.
Yeah, be careful, though.
Yeah, right. Be careful if you're driving near Julie. Well, I brought with me a very special prop, and I wanted to take the rest of the time to really kind of talk about it, because of course I shared with you that I attended this wonderful event last year. It was the breakfast that you had, and again, you know an organization really well, but then when you go to one of their events, you find yourself just even that much closer, because you really don't know them as well as you think you do. And you get to see the children. I remember even when leaving, they were lined up, they greeted us as well as, said thank you and goodbye. And again, that young lady who sang to us. So tell us a little bit about this, which is on the save the date. I guess it's on May the 7th.
May 7th. Yeah. So each year we host a breakfast. It's about an hour long, and we have our wish ambassadors there. We tell different stories, and it's really through the eyes of our wish granters, through the eyes of our wish children, our wish parents, and it's really their stories firsthand that we share.
So it's
A little bit about our vision and our passion and what
Sure.
we'd like to do in the community.
and you're really
Yeah.
gaining support. It's kind of a cultivating event to try to really get people to support your organization. How much does it cost to grant a wish? Do you have it broken out that way? Or?
We do. Our average wish cost is about $10,000.
Wow, $10,000 to grant a wish. Well, it's
They've got some
Value-
great imaginations.
Yeah, well, not only great imaginations, but it's almost priceless in the
It is
fact that
priceless,
what
yeah.
you're giving a child in them being so courageous through a very difficult time, and again, add to that the health benefits that you have is really pretty significant. So if somebody wanted to attend this event, is it open that they could call you, or
Absolutely.
they could
Yeah.
maybe is your website?
There's some information right on our website.
Okay.
It's nh.wish.org.
Okay.
They can go right on there. The breakfast information is right on, or they can email me, and I can get them the information for that, and we can save them a seat.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great event. I was really impressed. Is it going to be
We're
at the
so
same
excited.
place?
We've got all these surprises this year that I
Oh,
can't
you
really
do.
tell you.
Oh,
Yeah.
you've got to
But
tell
we've-
us.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're,
No. Well,
we're-
if people want to
we're
see
gonna
the
do some
surprises, they're going to have to
special
go.
Thing,
Okay.
with a Wish this year.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
going to be really, really exciting. And then we're going to have all our Wish ambassadors there.
Okay.
So
Now, what is
these
a
are-
Wish ambassador?
So these are Wish children who are now all grown up, and they actually came to us, and they really want to, so many of our Wish kids, they want to share their experience, and they want to share how much Wish really impacted them. And so we actually put them through a training, and
Oh,
they learn how to
wow.
be public speakers.
Oh,
And they
wow.
do these beautiful boards up with picture boards and all of their story. They write speeches, and
Wow.
they go out and they speak for us.
Wow.
But as you walk into the breakfast, all of our ambassadors will be there with easels and their pictures, and so people can stop even as they come in and talk to them and
Oh, that's
find out
nice.
about their wishes and a little bit more about them.
Well, there's
Yeah.
no better way to share the impact than having someone that has experienced the work that you do and benefited from it. So that's really remarkable. So you have volunteers that work for your organization.
We do. We have about 500 out
500?
throughout the entire
Wow.
state, and those are volunteer wish granters, like I was saying.
Okay.
Then we have clubs, organizations, groups of people that get together, and they host events for us, and they donate the money to Make a Wish.
Okay.
And then we have office volunteers who are amazing.
Wow.
And they come in, a couple of times a week and really help us offset all those administrative costs. It's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
And then we have ambassadors who are, kind of our new fleet that are out there busting some of those myths, sharing our mission.
Sure.
Letting those kids know where they can find us. So we can
Wow.
grant them
So if you were
wishes.
to really put your organization together, you're not 8 people. You're 500 people.
508, yeah.
500 people strong. That's pretty
Yeah.
pretty remarkable. It's a great organization. Now, where do you see, because we have a few minutes left, where do you see Make-A-Wish in another 5 years? Anything coming down the pike we need to know about?
Well, we are going to be granting a wish for every single child in New Hampshire.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
that's
High five.
because I've given myself 5 years to do that. So that would be absolutely amazing. If we had the resources, meaning the volunteers, the staff structure, and the financial resources to be doing that every year, for
Just
years
imagine.
and years and years to come.
That's
Just to be able
terrific.
to know we have that. And we've got some great donors now who are on board with us, and they've said, we're pledging, we're there, we're with you,
That's
and we
awesome.
want to see that happen. So
Well, Julie
that's-
Barron, I want everybody to get in touch with Make-A-Wish New Hampshire. We want to match every child with their wish granted, well before 5 years. That's
Yeah,
too far
let's
away.
do it in 2.
Let's do it in 2. All right, we're
Okay.
going to do it in 2. So 2 years. So thank you again for joining again, Julie. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming on.
Joy.
And really, it's so nice to see you again. So tune in next time for New Hampshire Cares. So now we made it.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.